Welcome back to Oneself. My name is Stephen Maher. With me today, with me always, is Adam Bartleman. Adam, thank you so much for joining me today, my friend. Damn, already messing my words up, bro. I haven't even
Happy to be
gotten
back.
yeah, man. I haven't even gotten 30
It's all
seconds in,
good.
bro. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Imperfectly perfect.
Imperfect perfection doesn't exist, man. It doesn't exist,
Yeah.
speaking of perfection and pursuit of greatness and all this cool stuff, we're talking about sports today. I mean, in my personal view, brother, like I see it as a very complicated thing. I see it as a beautiful thing. Like the competitiveness of sports can draw out like some of the most
Mhm.
beautiful aspects of human nature. But at the same time, um, I see a lot of abuse again and addiction in sports, whether it comes to gambling, and that can harm families. And
Mhm.
when it comes to losing the game, and the dad's pissed off the rest of the day, and the family is tiptoeing around dad because
Yeah.
his team lost. And so I mean, there's a beauty to sports, man, right? It's like the Olympics or anything like that. It's like those are really cool things, and I really enjoy those things and watching those things. But when it comes to like I said, like men and their teams, and they allow that to come in between their relationship, they let the sport that they have no actual control over, right? It's just they're
Mhm.
supporting their team, but they're just fans, and they let that dictate their mentality. They let that dictate
Yeah.
the rest of the day and the energy of their household, and their family. Because I've experienced that growing up
Mhm.
too, man. If someone lost, or it's like, oh geez, people take it serious. And
Yeah.
another thing too, brother, as an
Yeah.
uncle right now, with my nieces and nephews, they're doing in sports. Some of the parents, and this was true when I was a child too, like this shit hasn't changed. Some of the parents are like
No, no.
living vicariously through their children in the sports game. And it's
Yeah.
like these kids
Oh,
are like
yeah.
9 and 10, and you guys are like screaming at the refs, screaming at the kids, screaming at the other parents. It's like, what are we doing here? You know?
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
so yeah, man, I just, there's a lot of emotion wrapped into it. Another element of sports, right, is the bread and circuses element. What did they do in ancient Rome with the
Mm.
gladiatorial battles? They use sports to
Yeah.
deflect the population away from the actual issues in modern society. And so do you think that's changed today? Absolutely not. And love the NFL, love the NBA, but it's like that shit is the same principle today. Like those are the modern day gladiators that are distracting you from the fact that there's no there's tons of societal issues that are just not being addressed. And so give them bread, give them circuses, and don't pay attention to don't put your energy into the things that need change, right? Yeah, put all your energy into the game, and put your emotion and your
Mhm.
anger and your hopes, wants, and wishes into a team that you have no control over, by design, in my opinion, right? I covered a lot of ground there when it comes to sports, right? I would love to touch on all that stuff, Adam. I want to hear your thoughts, opening thoughts. I covered, yeah, there's addiction, there's family shit, there's, the bread and circuses element. There's a lot to cover here,
Yeah.
brother. Like, which, is there anything else you want to add, and what strikes your interest first?
Yeah, man. I mean, all of those things, all of those points, I sincerely, I'm very interested in each one of those points, and I have a few things to say. But also the good side of sports. It's like something I do recognize is. I was just thinking about this yesterday. Actually, I was talking about boxing actually with my partner, and I was, something now that I see specifically as like probably the most toxic expression of sporting events is like fight sports. But something that I used to engage in, I've held this, I've been kind of focused on the opinion that like we got to leave fight sports behind if we want to evolve past a warring consciousness in our collective. Um, which I very much believe that, but I think this is a great opportunity to recognize that multiple opposing truths can exist in the same space at the same time, because I was reflecting on some stories. I was reflecting on some memories and sharing some stories with my partner yesterday when we were out for a walk, and it was talking about I was talking about the boxing gym, like just boxing gym memories. and like I have some really positive memories, you know, and just the way that like a shared struggle can bring people together, which I think is like sort of like that like archetypal story attraction that we have to sports, that like tribal mentality of like, you know, even if we're not participating in the game, people observing it, or watching people come together and like and work together against a common opponent to reach a goal. And like that's what we really identify with deeply as human beings. um but yeah, like, for my own personal story, I was just reflecting on, you know, what I now think is pretty toxic, but at the time, I was like, "Man, you know, like, if you move to a new town and you don't know anybody," like what happened, you know, was the case for me a few times in my life, great way to, you know, make a bunch of instant friends is to join the local boxing club, and, like and, the quickest way to make a really good friend is to beat the shit out of each other in the ring, like, you know, sparring over a few rounds. And, like, you know, maybe that sounds kinda primitive, but I'm like, that was the experience. Like, I made, like, some really close friendships with some really good guys, like, um, that I met in the boxing gym. And then at the same time now, I'm like, why would I ever, in under any circumstances, risk damaging any part of the vessel that is carrying me through this third dimensional experience, or risk damaging anybody else, which I now recognize as other people as extensions of myself. I recognize this as one. Like, why would I ever do that? You know, come and recognize like having my hand raised after a boxing match, you know, like as the quote unquote winner, I was like, that was one of the worst feelings I've ever had in my entire life. I was like, I don't feel like I won anything because that guy over there lost. And therefore, like if somebody here lost, then nobody won. Um, so like I definitely hold those, you know, I kind of hold both of those opinions, you know, like it's a beautiful thing and it's a horrible thing. And you know, fight sports specifically, it's like, okay, you know, like sure, of course you can get injured in football and hockey and in basketball, but like fight sports, like the main goal is to hurt the other person essentially, right? So there's a little difference, but we can make the same argument for those other sports, you know, like people have been paralyzed, had, you know, CTE, like all of these horrible injuries from you know, competitive team sports as well as you know, the individual fight sports. So yeah, I would add, I guess I would add those 2 points. Like there's a beautiful side to it as well. And there's also that even darker side of like the injuries and that come along with it. And then all, at the same time understanding it's all karmic. And but I think that is our, that's based on our attachments and where we can evolve those, you know, those points of view and release some of those attachments comes from, you know, maybe having these discussions and talking about it, you know, like we are right here today. So, I mean, that's what I would add to for the start of our conversation here. Some a little good, a little bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
both.
yeah.
It multiple truths. Here's another thing too, man, that I've been learning this lesson
Mhm.
over and over again recently, where it's like multiple things can be true at once. Like it is good, it is bad,
Yeah,
at the
man.
same time. Like it's just like there's nuance
Yeah,
to most things in this life. Most things are both at once. It's intention behind
yeah.
it. Like, is the guy opposite you really looking to fucking hurt you? Then yeah, like that's no good. But
Hmm.
if it's like if you're just training and you're in your body and you're learning a skill and it's also keeping you in shape and it's also teaching you self-defense because if someone wishes you harm, you're not helpless, and so
Yep.
yeah, man, there's nuance to all this stuff. There really is. But I think I just while we're talking about it, I recognize that there's, often a negative side to a lot of this stuff. And so but the positive side too, like the human
Hmm.
capacity, when I see a gymnast in the Olympics doing like amazing things, it's like, man, the dedication that it took to get there and, the discipline, right? Just wow, like to admire the discipline that that person is displaying. Michael Phelps, right? I remember growing up and Michael Phelps and like the US swimmer. And he's
Hmm.
28 or 32 medals or something ridiculous. And just like the mentality of these
Crazy.
guys is insane, right? It's insane and inspirational,
Yeah.
right? Like it really is inspiring. When little kids look to Michael Jordan or whoever, LeBron or Kobe or great quarterbacks, or,
Mhm.
as an American, right? I'm just saying American sports. If you want to globalize it, right? Messi, or,
Yeah.
Ronaldo, right? The soccer's,
Yeah, yeah.
football, football again, I'm the
Rugby
American in me.
players, yeah.
Yeah, rugby players, right? There's just this global element that inspires the children of these amazing athletes. That's beautiful, right? Like, there's a beautiful thing. What's the other side of it too, though? and
Yeah.
from my perspective, I see it as the fans, right? Like I see a lot of negativity
Mhm.
within fan bases, right? The drinking culture, which we've already discussed. Like, I'm not a huge fan
Yeah.
of, when people tailgate before games and they're fucked up and they're starting fights in the stands. I'm not a huge fan of that, because
Oh boy.
you're getting violent over something that you have no outcome over, and
Yeah.
and
No,
um
yeah,
you
no
know
influence.
yeah, no influence, and getting physical with other people because, you're the tribal mentality, right? It's like, but again, what are we trying to
Hmm.
stress? Like, we're all one. And so when you're relegating yourself to, opposing sides, and I hate this guy just because he's wearing different colors than me, it's like, man, like, isn't that hurting us, or, and primitive? Like, can't we, like,
Yeah.
have a good hearted nature about it, instead of, like, getting actually violent over a game, right? you know
Yeah. And there are levels to it. And there's a book by I mentioned the Four Agreements a lot by Don Miguel Ruiz, and I believe it's his son.
I think he
One of his
updated it too,
sons
brother.
wrote
I think there
another
was a
one
fifth
called The Five.
agreement. Yeah, the fifth agreement.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And his son, I believe, wrote one called The Five Levels of Attachment. And a big uh, example that used to describe it is the sports example. So he was talking about, like, if you're, and I can't remember what they all were, but it was essentially starting with first level of attachment to observing a sporting event, to just to use to explain the idea of attachment to anything, to any element of our lives, but applying it specifically to sports because it's relatable for most people. So imagine someone who's enjoying watching a football game, and it's just like just enjoying watching the competition and the skill, the display of skill and like athletic ability on the field. No attachment to who wins, just simply enjoying the game. That would be like level one. And then that I can't remember exactly how it goes up the levels, but essentially level five is then, the South American, like I think it was in Colombia in the
Yeah,
'90s,
they
like,
killed the goalie.
guy scored on his own net, and like people went to his house and murdered him. And it's like that would be level five attachment, like way too
Yeah,
identified with the outcome of this game and the team and the colors. It's like just taken it to like an insane level. And recognizing that by working on ourselves, we can move on ourselves, we can move up, or well, we can move down those level of attachments to more of a level one, and just enjoy things without such an attachment to the outcome, such an emotional attachment to the outcome. Because yeah, ultimately we get into the conversation of, like, it's an interesting topic, I think, because we get into the conversation of good and bad, good and evil. Like, these things are relative, right? And change over time based on time and place and who's looking. Yeah, I mean the level of attachment to the outcome of a sporting event. That, I mean, yeah, the degree to which one is attached is going to be the degree to which they are suffering, right? So if we're like you said, if dad's angry and everyone's scared of him for the rest of the day because of a negative outcome from his point of view of the sporting event, then yeah, that's not an experience that most of us would choose or consider to be positive. But again, even that's relative. Some people are so into it and so committed and so yeah, just so attached to it that they enjoy those spikes, those peaks and valleys, and it's like it's an addictive thing. It's an addictive personality that's attached to that, which means, in my opinion, is there's unprocessed trauma because those spikes are creating a distraction, whether they're high or low. It's that roller coaster that the ego is addicted to. And I mean, that moves into like, it's interesting how many addictions go along with that, right? Like we said, alcohol and gambling, it's like they're kind of part and parcel in many cases.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting, the word that stuck out to me, brother, is that, like you said, suffering. It's like, yeah, you're inflicting additional
Mm.
suffering, and what do we talk about? Like, life is hard enough, life is a lot of suffering, and it's like you're adding additional suffering upon your psyche when it
Mhm.
comes to, yeah, if you're binge drinking at the game, that's mind, body, spirit, right? Just stalling all that shit and,
Mm.
waking up with a hangover the next day. If you're gambling on the games, which I see a ton of men gambling on sports, and so that's affecting your finances. If you have a family, you're just like pissing money away for, again,
Mhm.
to what? To feel more excited, to get the dopamine hit while you're watching the game,
It
to be
is
more
that,
invested.
yes.
Yeah, to be more invested in the outcome over which you have no control. And
Yeah.
yeah, brother, they've made it so easy with the sports betting stuff, and it's not, I don't even necessarily have a lot of empathy for men that are going through like a gambling addiction, because they've made it so easy. It's not like you have to go to the casino anymore or go to the racetrack to bet on the horses. It's like you can do it on your phone,
Mhm.
which everyone has. So it's like they've just made it so accessible
Yeah.
and so easy, and again, to ride the dopamine wheel. And so I have a lot of
Mm.
empathy for men that are going through that, because they've just made it so fucking easy to be susceptible to that
Yeah.
shit, and they wanted to. And then, of course, what comes after those ads? Oh, if you have a gambling problem, call this number or whatever. Like, it's like it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's this
Very
crazy, like,
hypocritical.
it's this, yeah, crazy hypocritical game where it's like, we want you to spend your money, but if you have a problem, like, call this number. It's like, brother, you're the
Yeah.
problem, like you're making it more of a problem
Yeah.
for all these men, you know.
Yeah, it's essentially like riding the line of like legality, I guess, for whatever, whatever precedent has been set, because it's like ticking a box for the insurance to say like, oh yeah, we've offered this, we've made it available, even though we're clearly the problem. But it's just this very like just distorted and inverted society that we live in, because it's like, why is that offered in the first place? Um, but another thing that comes with being so obsessed with being the spectator rather than the participant is like the sedentary lifestyle. Also, it comes along with the drinking and the. I mean, it's like it's all an escape, as we can see. It's like it's an escape, right? Whether you're watching your team on whatever day of the week it is, whatever your sport, it's like that's the escape. And then, talking the stats and like talking, identifying with the team, even though the team is not a fixed thing, is like a constantly changing entity, right? With different
Yeah,
players and stuff being traded. It's like, that's really interesting. But anyway, back to the sedentary lifestyle, because this like I mentioned this friend a couple times in the last episode, and like this same guy, we always had some funny talks growing up, and we always talked about how like, yeah, man, it just really seems like most guys just like let themselves go by the time they hit about 30. And ever since we were like teenagers, we would talk about that, and we're like, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep hitting the gym, eating healthy, like not going to let that happen to us, not going to descend into like dad bod territory. Then and So this friend of mine, he holds some similar opinions to me, and he does this like yearly guys trip with some of his high school buddies, and he always had these complaints about how they always wanted to sit at a bar and watch football or basketball while out traveling. And you always see the tourists at like the odd hours, because their team is playing back home, crushing beers at like 6 a.m. because it's 3 p.m. back home, and like their team's playing. So that like that kind of situation. And my buddy would always share how he would just turn to his friends and be like, guys, like it's okay to like sports, but like let's go fucking play them. So like there's a field like 3 blocks away. Let's get a ball. Let's go play sports instead of watching other men play sports. Why don't we play sports? And they're like, no, 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 no. We're drinking our beers, we're watching our teams. You just be like, fuck, are you kidding me? Like, just tell me
yeah,
multiple stories like that, which I always thought was just so funny. Like, why don't we actually go play sports? Because like that used to come up for me, like in my old job too. Especially somebody would be like, "Oh, like you watch hockey, you watch football, and I would always I'd turn it around and be like, no, actually, man, I don't watch a lot of television. Actually, do you watch a lot of television? And I would like kind of catch people off guard. Right, I think I've even mentioned that before, how that would catch men off guard because it's like, "Oh, no no," like because that sounds sitting around on the couch watching TV all day, that doesn't sound masculine, but somehow watching sports does sound masculine. So when I was like, point out the kinda contradiction there, when I was like, catch people off guard, which, I encourage our listeners to do the same if ever you're ever asked that question because it's a funny little social experiment to just to throw that one out there and see what happens. But yeah, man, the sedentary lifestyle and encourage it's funny, we're like obsessing over sports, but then like sitting there just
Yeah.
like eating junk,
Yeah,
drinking alcohol.
go join a gym or a local rec league or something, like, it's like, that's
Yeah, man,
then
exactly.
you know,
Join
that
the
fiery spirit, you know what I mean? And, yeah, you wanna get in shape, bro, but go play a game of pickup basketball, you'll be
yeah,
you'll be,
totally, man. Yeah,
he and Han, because that basketball gets you in shape really quick, just like soccer or, you know, or
totally.
any of those, like,
Soccer, yeah, run
pickup
up and down
games.
the pitch a few times, you're dead.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know, that's I again, it's sport. It's not like sports are bad. Like I really, you know, like that's the way I would encourage it. Where it's like number one, you're getting in your community. Number two, you're staying active. You're engaging that competitiveness that is fun. That is, you know, and like
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if you've ever been to like those rec games. Like they stay competitive. It's not like it's like everyone's phoning it
Oh,
in. Like
yeah.
people people take it pretty serious, you know,
Yeah.
volleyball or whatever it is, whatever it is. Even the
Yeah,
co-ed
yeah, yeah.
leagues, you know what I mean? Like the co-ed leagues go hard too. So it's like whatever, again, the
Yeah.
level of commitment you want to do, go for it. Like that's another way to, you know, maintain the love, and like it's actually good for you and it's good for the community, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, when people are yeah, just yeah, I get it with the sedentary, man. I understand. I understand where that could be frustrating.
Yeah. Or like at least like maintain a balance, right? Like, yeah, absolutely
Yeah,
watch the pros, but like get out there and play yourself too. Like
right.
put down the beer while you're watching the pros, put down the Cheetos and like, have a healthy snack and like get inspired by watching the pros and then go
Yeah,
play your own game after. Get fired up.
absolutely.
Seeing the guys who know how to do it best and then get together with your friends and do it
Yeah.
yourself.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no, I love playing a game of pickup basketball, you know, and when I can. You know, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a great way to
Yeah.
like switch up the regimen, you know. But yeah, man, no,
Yeah.
I think that's definitely by design though too, brother, because it's like the energies that those men put into these things, right? Where
Mm.
that's where they give their passion, their love, their attention is to a team that
Yeah.
doesn't love them back, you know? Like the team doesn't love you back, bro. Like I'm so sorry. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like why don't you put
Yeah.
that energy into like, you know, the local community, your family? Like it's like I love the passion. Like I really do. Like I love the love that people have for it. But it's like you remember all the stats and statistics of the entire team, but like don't give a shit about the local policy of like what's going on in your community. You know, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like
for real. Yeah.
you know, like if any sort of like group of men in any community cared about like as half as much as they care about their sports team and like what the
Yeah.
GMs are doing or like the managers are
Oh,
doing as opposed to like
buddy.
their local politicians,
Yeah.
dude. Like it's like, man, you could
Yeah.
make some change if you were like showing up to those town hall
There
meetings as
should
fired
yeah.
up as you were about when someone makes a trade to another team, you know, and you know, and is
Yeah.
outraged, right? It's like we need that energy for the shit that matters. Like I love the energy, direct it towards the
Yeah.
shit that actually matters. Because again, like the bread and circus stuff, it's
Yeah,
like
man.
if that's by design, like they want you to care about that stuff as much as they do, so you don't care about that other stuff, what that actually impacts your life and that you actually have a say in because you're a citizen, and you know there's a dialogue there already between you and between the constituents and the leaders of whatever community you're in. And you need to bring that sports energy
Yeah.
to like your leaders, you know, and like in your family
Yeah.
and your community and your friends and like that passion and that
Dude, yeah,
fire
yourself.
yourself.
You know?
Yourself.
Yeah,
That's what you
man.
have control
It's
over,
like
brother. You have no control over the sports, you know. And again, it's sick. It's awesome watching people at their peak and like the peak athleticism. But it's like they don't love you back, man. Like that, those teams, they don't know you, bro. Like
yeah.
those star athletes don't know you, you know.
Yeah. Dude, that's a great point, man. Like if if you just took like 10% of the energy that men specifically feed into, like their sports addictions, there's, sports viewing. If you took 10% of that and put it into like themselves, their family, the community, like the rapid change that you would see on this planet, like because it like cross culturally, right? If it's, it's North America, it's football, hockey, basketball, but then the rest of the world is like soccer. It's like
Yeah.
insane, right? Soccer and rugby to a lesser degree, and like cricket. If people are like diehard fans of
Religion, brother. It's a
these
religion. And
sports, and
so from what I've seen.
yeah, yeah. Oh, dude, yeah, man. Like India, seeing how people are more obsessed with cricket in India than Canada is with hockey and America with football, like combined. It's like
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Same with
but
parts of South America I saw with soccer, dude. Like again, religion. Like they
yeah. Oh,
worship
on
the
a
teams.
whole other level. Yeah,
Whole other
yeah.
level. They worship the teams. And
Oh,
it's like,
yeah,
that's not my country, that's not my culture. So it's like I'm not gonna like necessarily speak on that. But it's like again,
yeah,
if you directed that energy towards like the country or like it's like when things or your family or
yeah.
communities, like that's a lot of passion and fire. And I
Self,
love it. But like,
yeah.
yeah, like, to the things you can control.
Yeah. Well, it's like as you said, by design, right? So, we have our matrix model here where people are mostly working a work schedule that is not um aligned with their biology, and in a job that they probably don't like. And then a couple days off at the end of the week, maybe, depending on the country. A lot of places you get one day off a week, and like what are you doing with that one little window of freedom is like trying to load up the dopamine hits, right? So it's like, just eating all day and crushing alcohol, like crushing booze, and watching, and wanting to be entertained, wanting to escape from the reality that is like the prison of the mind that is, after all, self-created. But that system supports it. That system supports it. That
Yeah.
that endless cycle, which just keeps people asleep, and just pouring that energy out. Like think about that beautiful energy that people are pouring into their sports and like whatever their team is. Again, like just coming back to that point, think about that beautiful energy. Like if it was harnessed and put in a positive direction, like how much beauty could come out of that, how much creation energy. It's like, man,
Yeah.
I have to sit and think about that myself, and just kind of meditate on that, because it's like it's a lot. You just the money, just like putting the cup, like taking like half the money out of like what you're spending on your betting and putting that into something else. What a massive change you could see in such a short period of time. But
Yeah.
it's
And there's another thing.
people are so attached to it, man. They're so diehard about it. Like men get so defensive if you question this shit. It's like
Yeah.
it's something to look at.
There's here's some other things too. And this again, this is a very American centric, so I recognize that. But like here's just another way to like be like these fucking teams do not care about you. Like this is a one-sided relationship. The billionaires in America that own these sports teams, they get the taxpayers to pay the state for the stadiums, to build the stadiums in these cities. And then did the
Oh,
taxpayers reap
buddy.
any benefits from the money that the stadiums make? Absolutely not. So your tax dollars are going into building these mega facilities on the taxpayer dime, and then they get no reward from that. And guess what, too, dude? The
That's
NFL is a
fine.
tax-free organization. So all the money that the NFL makes, they don't get taxed on it. So like they're not even giving back to the
Fine.
country. And we're giving all this love, energy, attention, and money. And another thing too, brother, like the tickets, dog. Like I'm seeing, like for the ticket, I mean, it's concerts, it's everything. Everything's going up. But the tickets for these games
Yeah.
can be like thousands of dollars. And who's got thousands of dollars to go see a game? Like I don't know how these stadiums are still filled.
Uh,
Like are people just paying it with credit card debt?
mm,
Like I don't understand it, but it's like these
yeah,
tickets are
probably.
insane. And the beer, it's $15, $20 for a beer or whatever. Like it's just like all the food is nuts. All of it is nuts and overpriced. And
Yeah.
and they're just siphoning all that money off from the people and just putting it in their pocket. And we're just kind of like, and we still give them all this love and attention. And and again, it's like, and I love passion, brother. Like nothing lights me up than like listening to someone talk about something they're passionate about. And I love, and if it's a
Mhm.
sports team, it's like, okay, like I get it. But at the same time, it's like, is there something else you're passionate about? Like, that maybe you could put more of that, switch some of that energy into. Cause like that's what I want to hear you talk about. Something that you're doing with your life, because I love passion, whatever people are interested
Yeah,
in. I really do. Like I really enjoy like seeing people light up to talk about what they care about. When it's
yeah,
the sports, like it's like I'm not as much there, because it's like,
yeah,
it's because at the end of the day, again, I love the sports, but like, is it, in some ways it's inspiring and in some ways it impacts lives, of course, and it's inspirational and it gives people hope in some ways. And, but, is it like fundamentally making humanity drastically different, or like, positive change in the right direction? It's like, no, like it's not making those big swings, as far as I can
yeah,
tell, right? Where it's like, to stop war, famine, water, electricity, like education for the masses, healthcare, uplifting the world, out of the poverty that most of the world resides in. And
yeah.
but again, like that's where we put our energy in. That's where a lot of people put their energy in. Yeah, in these teams, like, in the and I don't know, man. I don't
Well,
get it. But
well,
again, it's by
you drew,
design.
yeah, well, you drew the parallel earlier of like a religion, right? And and then you described me. I didn't know that the NFL is tax free because that's like churches in the United States, right? It's tax free, so it's literally like a mega church. It's just taking in the
It's a
cash and
yeah,
not having to pay a dime on it.
yeah,
And people are,
yeah,
and if it gets more and more expensive, you think about like the televangelist that convinces the senior citizen who has no money to send them
yeah,
to, to phone it in, and they send them a bunch
yeah,
of money. And it's like, people are hurting out there, and it's like, and as you say, things are just getting more and more expensive, but they're still willingly choosing, like, depending on how you're looking at it, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's like free will is there, willingly going to choose, making the choice to give away more and more money, even though it doesn't make any sense. It's like, what does that sound like? That sounds like organized religion to me. It sounds like, you know, uh, yeah, sounds
yeah.
like
It's a
mega
tithe.
church
Yeah, literally.
Christianity
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, buddy, it's like it's wild, right? But it's like it just, energy never dies, it just changes form, and maybe that specific energy was like, oh, church attendance is dropping. Let's pump sports even more. It's like,
It's on
oh
Sundays,
man,
bro.
that's
Like it's, NFL's
man,
on
dude,
Sundays in
yeah.
America,
Oh,
bro. Like it's
people
like you
people make and people that's like a common thing. Like people refer to that as like going to church. So that's not even that much of a stretch. That's like an
no,
ongoing joke that I have heard now that I think of it.
no.
And
They were
like,
yeah,
man,
it's
yeah, we gotta,
worship, dog. It is. It's
yeah,
worship,
yeah.
you
And
know.
like, yeah, the violence that comes along with it, like you're inspired to do violence, commit violence against another human being over like a belief in something, that doesn't really have anything to it. That's and the
Just
parallels
just
are
just casually
many.
like, yeah, yeah, just casually like, the Crusades, right? You know what I mean? Like, how
Yeah,
many
yeah,
times has
yeah.
that
Oh,
happened in
yeah.
human history where, you're going to war, killing strangers over, uh
Yeah,
I don't know, false doctrine or whatever you want to call it, but
yeah,
just yeah, the tribal
yeah,
mentality of like, meh, meh, like you're different from me, and when again, we're all
yeah,
human, we're all one, it's like there's
yeah,
we just make up these things to divide us even further.
yeah. It's like it comes down to like, yeah, you talk about the Crusades, it's like, which side are you on? It's like, well, see that flag over there with that certain shape and that certain color? That's me. And it's like, what is that's what like a sporting event, or that's what like teams are too. It's like, I like, see those colors over there with like, like a bird face on it? Like, that's me. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. Like if you want to identify with that again and again, there's nothing, and again, there is no right or wrong, in the realm. There's no right and wrong in the realm of the absolute. This is all relative. Like whatever we consider to be right, whatever we considered to be right a generation ago, we might not think of it the same way today. And like these things may have served us more at some point, But and it comes down to perspective, and like the individual and the collective journey of evolution here is like having a look at these perspectives and allowing the space for them to shift at times, because that's, as far as I can see, what evolution's all about. So
Yeah.
yeah, recognizing like, man, like for the people who are making the decisions to, you know, piss their money away on this, gamble money away and like harm their families and like have that frustration and that suffering that comes out of such deep attachment, then be reflected in, substance abuse and more suffering for their families. If people are making that choice, that's their choice. And like the children that chose to come into those families too, from like a soul perspective, from a karmic perspective, they're choosing those conditions as well. And they're choosing those parameters to for playing the game in such a way as to express themselves with relation to their karmic blueprint. So it's like it's a trip, man. It's like people will be doing what they do with their free will. And we can discuss it, we can offer some different perspectives on it, but it's like which hopefully, I mean, from our personal attachment to it, right, when examining our attachments as well, we have this attachment to this idea of like this stuff is distorted and messed up. And and just examining that, we're talking about our attachments here too. So but from those attachments we offer these opinions and perspectives, and hopefully, because that's what we're hoping, it lights people up and shows people a different way, at least a different perspective to look at these things differently. Because yeah, it's just something feels off, and I think more people are waking up to that. Like this is just doesn't make a
I've
whole lot of
noticed that
sense
too.
the way
I've
we've got
noticed
things
that
going.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah. People feel the lack of respect both ways. Here's a sports organization that I see doing it right though. Have you ever heard of Savannah Bananas?
no, I don't know what that is.
It's like you know how like Harlem Globetrotters are like, fun basketball, family friendly
Mm,
games. So it's like a
yeah.
baseball version of that, right? But they're
Mm,
very fan forward. The tickets are like $35 a person. They try to keep food costs
oh, cool.
affordable, and they like rent out different stadiums across the country. And it's silly. It's like a funny baseball game. Like they have stuff going on in between the innings, like like silly fun stuff. But it's
Oh,
just a fun family experience that like is really fan forward. Whereas like I see all these other organizations, again in my American centric view, um just not give a fuck about their fans, man. Like truly not
yeah.
give a shit if like you're gonna spend $1,000, like they don't care, like give us all that money. Whereas like this organization is like, no, 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 like we want to keep things affordable, like family friendly, like it's for you guys, like it's for the fans. and
Yeah.
um and they've just gotten bigger and bigger, brother. Like they've just gotten bigger and bigger. And
Um,
is the baseball game like super competitive? Like no, like it's not like the World Series or anything, but it's like it's still the love of sports and like what I think the best aspects of sports are. It's like yeah, like bringing people together and like having fun and keeping it affordable because we're not trying to gouge anybody. Like we're just trying to provide
mm,
entertain. We're just trying to entertain and like leave you, with the family having a good night. And so that's just like an example of like an organization where I'm like, they're doing it right, bro. Like I'm so pumped for that
mm,
organization. And they've just like sky's the limit, like they've just gotten bigger and bigger and like sold out, these major league baseball stadiums. They started at,
really?
like minor league
Oh,
stadiums. And yeah, now they're selling out like major league stadiums. And they're still making money, bro. But like, it's like, cause if you're filling out all the, entire stadium for $35 a ticket, like you're gonna make your money. You don't have to gouge people,
yeah,
into the
yeah.
ground. And people know that about the organization, where it's like they have a love and respect for the fan base, where the professional leagues, I just I don't get that sense from from the billionaires owning
Yeah,
those teams. It's yeah, man. So it's just like it's not like it's everywhere. Like there are some beautiful examples of like sports in a beautiful way, again, because multiple things can be true at once, like we say. And they're just an organization that's really doing it right.
that's cool, man. Yeah, thanks for educating me on that. That's cool. Never heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, Savannah Bananas, dude. Yeah, Savannah Bananas. The guy,
So,
like the head guy is like he's a character. He dresses in all yellow. He's got like a top hat. Like he's just larger than life character who's running the organization, and he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. You can feel it
That's
from him.
funny.
Like he's really, coming from a genuine place of like fans first, which is like, ideally more sports organizations were like that. And then I feel like the love is
Mm,
earned, right? Like if you're a fan giving that love, it's like, okay, like
yeah.
it's more of a relationship at that point because it's like they care about you too, and but like again, like I said, like most of these organizations just do not give a fuck about you. You're just a way to fill their coffers.
Yeah, man. And yeah, and what an interesting reflection. It's like such a great reflection of where we're at. It's like looking at it as the organized religion parallel to that. Or yeah, just the uh, corporation-led world that we live in. Where it's like, the same mentality that feeds food to the masses. Covered in pesticides and herbicides, and then offers toxic pharmaceutical drugs to deal with those problems, to supposedly deal with those problems. It's just like it seems like the same state of consciousness, the same way of thinking. It seems is like a pretty predictable element of our human expression at this point on the planet here. It's like, yeah, it's all,
Why can't we all just get along, man?
yeah.
you know,
Why do you
I,
need
I'm
why do
like,
you need so much money? You can't take it with
yeah,
you.
dude. I was seeing something the other day. I was like listening to YouTube or like a YouTube video. I was working, and it's like a sickness. I think like this greed that we see rampant. It has to be a sickness because it's like a mental illness. Because yeah, it's never enough, brother. Like it's like if
Yeah.
it's never enough, and so yeah, man, I think something's wrong with those people,
It's
bro.
well, yeah, it's an addiction. It's like the hungry ghost metaphor, like yeah, it's addiction. Or in
Yeah,
in some of in multiple different indigenous cultures around the world, but using this North American example, like concept of it's called a Wedico virus, which is essentially just, I'll just put it very simply, not that I fully understand this, but um it's just greed. Essentially, it's like that mindset behind colonialism of like just take and take and take and extracting everything you can out of the natural resources of the earth, including the human spirit. It's just it's
yeah,
just it's just like capitalism, greed, just like unobstructed, pure, uh, just addiction and greed. That's yeah. It's like because it doesn't make the thing is like it doesn't. It's such a huge blind spot, such a huge collective blind spot and individual for anyone like really embodying that. And also, side note, we all have to look at how we are embodying that because we are one. So looking at where those elements, if we really want to make the change, we got to, as always, look within ourselves to see where this expression is coming up in our personal lives. But like understanding that massive blind spot exists there because it has to be a blind spot because it doesn't make any sense. Again, it goes contrary to the concept of oneness, which is truth, and it delves into separation consciousness, which expresses itself in narcissism, which sees things as like there's only me and maybe those closest to me, that I'm going to take as much as I can from everyone else to get as much as I can for me and mine, so we're set up, not recognizing that if you're taking something from someone else, you're taking it from yourself. That was like, my realization, like after that boxing match, I was like, well, if that guy lost, then I didn't win. Like it's the same thing. If anybody's losing, then you're not winning. Like you're not like
yeah.
you're
Why do I want to give
skimming
somebody
something
brain
off the
damage?
top. Yeah, like if you're gouging somebody on a ticket price, like and filling your coffers a little more, you're not winning. That idea of gouging people is just coming from the separation consciousness. Because if you're gouging somebody and or skimming a little off the top in a business deal, it's like once we understand that you're never if you're taking something from someone else, you're from taking it from yourself, because that's just the way it is. Like, we are one being here. If we're thinking that taking from somebody else is giving us a leg up, that is simply a very clear reflection of the fact that we remain in our infancy here in terms of consciousness as human beings. Like, we're just like playing in the sandbox still, and we're thinking we're so intelligent with our technological advances, and and yet we still treat each other like we're separate. We have missed like the most fundamental like day one concept of being like a conscious being, and we're still we're still in it, as we can see. Organized religion, sports, just abusing each other in general,
Suppressing
violence.
this stuff. Yeah, brother. I think,
Yeah,
like, why, science doesn't really, I mean, as far as I can tell, maybe there's some researchers, but it's not like mainstream science. It's like studying consciousness or like these elements of this stuff that we're talking about. And
there's a
again, is
faction
that,
that is.
yeah, yeah, I hope more and more, right? But it's
Mm,
like, are they laughed at by like the mainstream scientists, or, or like, viewed with skepticism, or, like they're quacks or kooks, or, you know? Um,
yeah.
like it's not legitimized. The research isn't legitimized because it's, oh, that's pseudoscience, or it's like, no, like what's more interesting than how we function in our bodies, and like how our brain operates, and developing our consciousness, because yeah, most people are children in adult bodies, like, we recognize that.
Yeah, recognizing that it was that way, the people who have been turning on to this stuff, which has been going on for a long time, like in terms of modern history, we'll call it that. Like, the people like Nikola Tesla or even Albert Einstein bringing things forward that were not accepted by mainstream science, because that would have created likely a domino effect that would have led to more human awakening. And while those,
Yeah,
so while these people who have been coming on, like turning on to these spiritual concepts and recognizing that like these supposedly far out spiritual concepts are actually observable and like empirically observable, uh, and okay, what am I trying to say here? That they are actually empirically observable from the perspective of mainstream, like Western thought, like reductionist materialist science. And that's the thing, like that evidence has been cropping up for a long time now. And now it's getting to the point of a tipping point, like it's getting to a tipping point where the so-called scientists who are still rejecting that, it's like that it's now becoming the case where that is getting fucking embarrassing. If you're still holding on to like the material view of the universe and not understanding that it's all energy and it's all consciousness, it's like that's a little passé at this point. Like, you've kind of missed the boat if you're not waking up to that. So that's the cool thing, is like it is actually shifting in that direction, because of all of the discoveries of quantum mechanics, like quantum physics, and it's all catching up. And it's like, yeah, applying oneness, it's just painfully simple and painfully obvious. It's like, of course there's no separation between science and spirituality. Like that had to be a conversation for a while. Like, oh, maybe there's a connection between. It's kind of like, maybe there's a connection between the mind and the body. People are like, huh, really? Wow. Think about that for decades. And it's like, guys, like, what, you want me to prove a connection between mind and body? Like, somebody just broke the window in your car parked down on the street right now. And like, okay, what happened? Like, your heart rate goes up, you get angry. It's like, there, I just proved the connection between mind and body. Don't worry, nobody broke the window of your car. Like, there's an empirically proven fucking fact. But it's like,
yeah,
that was even a stretch for people to think that like that there's a connection there. So it's like, oh, science and spirituality actually align on everything. Like, yeah, yeah, no kidding. It's, again, just you don't need to be a classically trained anything in order to observe this. You just need to become a keen observer of first yourself and then life, and then all of this stuff starts to unfold. This was some of the greatest minds, some of the greatest yogis in the past never had any schooling whatsoever, because
yeah. You don't
it
need a
wasn't
PhD to be
necessary.
curious.
No, and then they could hold conversations on like on quantum physics with physicists and talk about all of the particles that they could see moving around and know how the bonds between different electrons work, even though they've never set foot in a laboratory or read a book, because they've seen it as they've dropped into their own cosmic consciousness. They're not their own consciousness. They've dropped into the entire consciousness and being able to see how it works. So it's like, but that's, a little bit of a tangent there. But um,
Yeah,
yeah, man,
baby bites.
it's all to the bite size. Yeah, bite size. We got to remember
Yeah.
that one. But it's but
Yeah,
it's
but
but it's far out, man. We can all go on that journey, right? It's available to all of us because that's our birthright. The fact that you exist, like I am, as the different spiritual texts have said, and different languages over the years, like I am that I am, I am. That's all. That if you exist, then you are a part of the divine. That's it. There's no separation, and you have access to absolutely everything. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, make it complex, then make it simple.
yeah, brother.
The most
Well, I
profound
think that's
truths are the
probably
most simple.
exactly, exactly.
Mm.
Probably a good place for us to cap episode 26 on sports, though, huh?
Yeah, man. Let's hit the brakes on this runaway train.
No, I love it.
Yeah, man.
Listen, I know we started at sports and we ended up, talking about oneness, consciousness, all that stuff. But listen, that's the point we're trying to get to, where it's like,
It's what we do.
it's what we do. It's why we're here. It's all one. And when we let things such as sports divide us from each other, it defeats the purpose of our existence. Of why we're
Mhm,
here, of what the point is to just inhabit the body you're in, and let your energy be guided and misguided, I would say, into things that don't serve you, the people around you, your families, or your community. And so
mhm,
just take that. I just, if there's anything, just try to reclaim that back, and put that in yourself, put that into
mhm,
the people that matter to you and your relationships. And and we can talk about this yeah, and get curious about the stuff we were just talking about, because that's exciting too. That's exciting too. Those are my closing thoughts. Adam, any
mhm.
closing thoughts on sports, this conversation, the big things, the small things, keeping it simple?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think just like we said at the start, like it depends on where you're looking from. It's all about perspective. There's good and bad. So just try and hold all of it. Try and hold the negative and the positive ends of the polarity. Try and see all of it, and recognize that this concept of hierarchy, again, just draw like another parallel between professional sports and organized religion. It's like hierarchy is within those as well. People are looking up to their sports heroes and thinking like, oh my God, these people are gods and everything. It's like, recognize that the body that you're in, the life that you're living, the circumstances that you have are absolutely perfect and divine and chosen for a very good reason. There's been no mistake. It's been chosen for a very good reason, and that is to live through your personal experience, go through your personal karmic blueprint, and to evolve. And in doing so for yourself, you're evolving the collective consciousness, the collective, everyone, everything. And that is the work of God. That is a divine undertaking. So by all means, enjoy sports in different ways. If be a spectator, be a participant as well, if that's available to you. Of course, we're talking about like being the privilege of being physically able as well. um whatever way you can, be active as well. But then also just recognize, like, enjoy watching those guys on TV, and those women on TV, but like recognize that, like, they're not better than you in any way. They're just different. Like, you're beautiful and perfect exactly the way you are. And knowing that your circumstances are divine as well. You don't need to just look up to these people with their multi-million dollar contracts, and and their legions of fans, like as being better than you, like they're different than you. It's just, and don't sorry, don't forget to, rather remember to focus in on your own journey. Don't allow your consciousness to be pulled out and all sucked through the talking box, the television, every week or every day, because what you have is a gift, and it's best if appreciated.
Folks, if you like what you heard, share it with friends, engage with us, comment, subscribe, do all the things that are free that help us out. We really appreciate it. And Adam, thank you so much for our discussion on sports and the bigger picture. And yeah, we'll catch you next time, y'all.
Take care. Thanks, man.